Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Turncoat debates. This debate that we're having here is being organized with collaboration of Meghalaya MUN and the Chief Electoral Officer. Now, the reason we're having this debate today is a prelude to the National Voters' Day, which is coming up on the 25th of this month. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is to be understood that the National Voters' Day was started to encourage young people who have just turned 18 to contribute to the voters list, to join in and exercise the greatest right given to them by this democracy, and that is the right to choose their own government and their own representatives. Now, in celebration of that particular right and privilege that we have been granted through years of sacrifice and hard work by a lot of people, and people who have shed their blood, given up their lives, and everything, this is the biggest privilege that we have been granted. And in celebration of that privilege, ladies and gentlemen, as a prelude, we are having this Turncoat debate today. And we have concluded an online round, and we will now move ahead with this particular round. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this round of the Turncoat debates for Meghalaya MUN United Nations and the Chief Electoral Officer, which have jointly organized this particular event. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on with the speakers that we have in today's list. The first speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you are aware of the rules. We have explained them to you before, and we shall do it once again for the benefit of everyone here. In a Turncoat debate, the one that we're having here today, you will have 2 minutes to speak for the motion, 2 minutes to speak against the motion, and 1 minute to provide us with your concluding remarks or with any form of rebuttal that you wish to include in your speech. Now, as a personal tip, I would recommend you to speak second. When I mean by speaking second, I mean that if you wish to take an overall stance where you support us having a digital polling system, and that is the main agenda that we're discussing today. Digital polling, the next step for the world's largest democracy. If you wish to speak in favor of having a digital polling method, then I would suggest you speak for the motion second. Right? You speak against in the first 2 minutes. Now, after every 2 minutes, I will repeat this particular bell once. At the end of the 5th minute, I will repeat this twice, and we want to conclude there and then. Overextending will lead to negative marking. Alright? Now, we can make leeway for 5-10 seconds, but nothing more than that. Alright? Now, if the rules are clear to you, we begin. And the first speaker we will have, I request the speakers to please come up to the podium so that please speak. And also, please feel free to carry with you your notes, but do not read out the video, please.
I would like to give a very good morning to the House. So I'll be speaking and discussing about the topic which says that digital polling is the next step toward the world's largest democracy. So I strongly agree with that, Mr. Speaker, sir. As we can see that nowadays, we can see everything is digital, and it is very easy for the digital platforms to count the votes. As we can see through the ballot papers, it will take so many hours and it will take the whole day as well. So if you see about environmental friendly, it is very environmental friendly. As the ballot paper, it will they make such a waste of papers, and we should consider the environment at first. And secondly, I would like to say about security. When we say about security, the EVM completely eliminates the things that the ballot paper have, like the invalid votes. It completely eliminates that. We have seen that during the ballot papers, there are so many invalid votes, which in some cases it even leads to the margins of the winning teams, which leads to the complications like the chaos between the parties and the candidates. So in digital polling, we can say that it is very secure and it is very fast. We can see the EVM machine is very small, and we can put in a security box so that we can carry it anywhere. It is safe, and we should not forget by the introductions of the VVPAT in 14th of August 2013, which which is a step toward the world's largest and clean democracy in India, especially because it allowed all the voters to verify the votes and to see whether there is a malfunctioning or the electoral frauds in the votings. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to say that the digital way of conducting the election is very good and we should step toward that. But there is always a but. And I would like to say that in the digital, we should not forget that our nation, India, is the home of 3,013 illiterate people, which are not comfortable with the digital way of elections or voting. And by that, I would like to say that it is not a good idea of conducting their voting by a digital way. And if we see about a deep on digital, we will think about having the right to vote from home. And I strongly disagree with that because there is nothing in the world, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing in the world that cannot be hacked in the world of internet. Everything which is connected with the internet can be hacked. Even the files of the NASA's can be hacked. What is my vote and your vote? It's just a piece of cake. It can be hacked. So I don't think that we should trust the digital way of voting. So voting by a digital way is not safe at all for all the citizens and for all the citizens of the nations. So as we can see that yes, it is quite pleasant by voting from home, but if your votes can be hacked, then it won't be right. And digital polling, if you said about voting from home, it won't be confidential because if I vote from home, my parents or my uncles or my elders will say that vote to that particular party, vote to that particular candidate, and that can steal my right of votes of choosing my own candidates, my own party, and it can lead to violence as well. It means just imagine a criminal putting a gun on my head and said vote to that particular party, vote to that particular candidate. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I don't think it's a great idea of voting from home or by moving to a digital way. I think that the ballot paper it is small, it takes time, but it is good. It is right for the safety of the citizens. So, overall, I would like to say, to address Mr. Speaker, sir, that although digital polling is good, we can vote from home, we can vote from the hospital if we are sick, we can vote from anywhere, from work, from our college, from our schools. But there are so many things, so many consequences that we should not step toward the digital polling. And I would like to say to Mr. Speaker, sir, that this type of system that we have now in India, that we have the EVM and the VVPAT, it is good. So I would like to conclude my speech by saying that we should go for a pre-digital, polling or voting. I mean, it should not exceed to the internet, or it should not go beyond that. For a safe and secure environment, for a safe and secure voting of electing for our candidates. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Can we please have the next speaker, Ms. Pasli? Ms. Pasli, please. And please do forgive me if I pronounce it wrong.
I would like to say good morning, Speaker, and good morning to the House. Today, I would like to speak about the digital polling is the next step for the largest democracy. As we all know, democracy is a system of government by the people, for the people, and to the people. So, digital polling is a very good system of voting now, especially during the pandemic. During the pandemic, we have seen all around the world, they use digital polling as a system of vote. Because why? Why they use digital polling as a system of vote? Because all people from different countries and different countries they have their own people from to different countries. That's why they use digital polling to get the people to vote their rights, because democracy is a system of government that all people should not be left out without vote. So I think digital polling is very good right now. Just this pandemic only the digital is very very useful for all of us and all the countries all around the world. But it has both positive and negative impact. Digital polling, it might create a problems because nowadays there are so many hackers everywhere around the world. So digital polling is not safe for every one of us to vote. But and it is very harmful also to the right of the people. It is the rights of the people may be depleted by the maybe ruined by this digital polling. In maybe in the home they vote for their own candidate, but during the maybe their vote got hacked and goes to the other candidate, and it is very very harmful to that candidate, and it is not their right. So I feel that digital polling it has both positive and negative impact. I would like to conclude that digital polling can be used, but it is not used everywhere. Paper is the best for the voting. Thank you.
Can we please have Theodora? Theodora, next.
A very good morning to everyone present here. Now, the topic that has been allotted for today is digital polling, the next step for the world's largest democracy. Well, now, as we all know, our Prime Minister wants us all to go digital. And I agree with him. I mean, by doing digital polling, we're saving so much energy, time, money. Imagine the cost of paper printing, of transportation, storage, and distribution. We're cutting all those costs by just using EVMs or electronic voting machines. Another point why EVMs or electronic voting machines are way better than the conventional system or the ballot paper is that this runs on a 6-volt battery. And as we know that we have an institution that runs our democracy and which is so committed to bringing the power of vote, the chance of voting to each and every citizen of India. And that is the Election Commission. This institution, which is so committed, has now used EVMs for the past election years, and it uses this. It actually works because the nation does not only consist of urban areas; it consists of rural areas also. We have areas that cannot even be reached by foot. Some have to go by boat, or some even have to be airlifted and dropped there. And so, by using an EVM, which runs on a 6-volt battery or a 7.5-volt battery, without electricity, that can be carried to the remote areas and can be used there. Another point is if we think of the officials who have to count the votes, imagine the people who have to actually, it's a really long process, but if we use an EVM, it's such a quick and efficient way to get the results out. Just press on the totalizer. We also have the Supreme Court recently has passed out a judgment that dismisses any chance of EVMs being vulnerable to hacking. But again, going to the other side, old is gold, as most people believe. And I'd say the more experienced generation will still say that the old ballot paper is way better than the new machines. Obviously, old is gold. So, to go ahead, they say that ballot paper lets the voter vote without any fear of his or her employee, and also completely closes the option of being bribed. When after casting a vote, a voter does not even recognize his or her own vote. Well, God bless whoever invented them. Now, another thing about having these EVMs as an advantage is that if you think of these illiterate people, having ballot papers you have to put on the stamp and then you fold it vertically and then another way horizontally, and then you go put it in the box where all the ballot papers are kept. But in the case of an EVM, all you have to do is just press the button that is next to the picture or the sign of that candidate. Hence, to conclude, my point was not to draw a conclusion about which is a more beneficial system, but to bring in the forefront how every system has its own merits and demerits, and it is important for each and every one of us to recognize them and work accordingly for the betterment of our future. Thank you.
And moving on, can we please have Mr. Shantanu?
Digital polling is just like extraordinary possibilities in the hands of ordinary ones. A very good morning to everyone present here. As today's House believe that digital polling is the next step towards the world's largest democracy. And now I stand for the motion of the topic. Firstly, I'd like to define the word digital polling itself. Digital polling, also known as e-voting, is a voting system in which electronic gadgets are used to aid or take care of the casting and counting of votings in the form of EVMs, that is, electronic voting machines. As we all know, technology has transformed democracy to a great extent, and digital polling is surely one of them, which is as compared to the traditionally so-called pencil and paper system has a tremendous opportunity to empower people, amplify their voices, and allow citizens to hold the government accountable. I'd like to put forth my statement and my stand with the following arguments. Firstly, one of the most significant benefit or aspect of digital polling is that it increased efficiency, as it reduces the organizational and the implementational cost of the elections and curtail the expenditure to a great extent. Secondly, for a democratic country like India, with 67% of the turnouts around across the 542 parliamentary constituency, for a democracy of this size and with a complex multi-party system, electoral fraud is a leading concern. So digital polling in the form of EVMs have tackled this problem by registering only 5 votes in a minute. Thirdly, as I said, digital polling also allows the voters from the commonly election falls, including picking 2 candidates or no candidates at all, and make the process much more easier for both sides. Fifthly, as ideally this system brings a new flavor to elections and helps the people to have more confidence about their votes. So yeah, as me, myself and my fellow opponents have talked much about digital polling and their flavors and their benefits, but we should also take into account the consequences and the impact that it has. First of all, a large section of the society are not comfortable and are feasible with the digital gadgets, so I don't think so it's a better option to be opted. Secondly, as we all know that one thing is that the success of the election in the digital polling system is dependent upon the EVMs. If it doesn't work, the election is just a waste. So this is the second point I would like to put forward. The third argument is that as we talk about the systems being hacked, so the votes of the voters are not being not confident about. So there's a chance of electoral fraud at in most of the digital polling. So yeah, and fourthly, as digital polling itself questions the legitimacy, the accuracy, and the credibility of the elections in a democratic country like India. So I don't believe that digital polling is the right option for now. Lastly, I like to conclude by saying that every system has certain drawbacks and loopholes. But I do believe that the people who are still in disagreement with digital polling will believe that the greatest features and the greatest achievements of digital polling is yet to come with development of software and technology. So let's we all guys wait for the correct digital polling system so that we can accommodate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And after Shantanu, can you please have Mr. Vante? Vante, yes.
Your Chairmanship, I stand here to support the agenda. Digital polling is the next step for the world's largest democracy. According to some political parties, electronic voting machines have some technical issues, and to solve that issue, digital electronic voting machine is needed. who knows that after the election, those volunteers or workers in election duty will click the button of their favorite candidates 1,000 times. And if not done by that, many miscreants will steal the EVM and vote for their favorite candidates 1,000 times. And through digital polling, there will be absence of voting duplicity, which means that every citizen will get a digital card, like an ATM card, and they have to generate the PIN, their unique PIN, so that they can vote. And their vote will go directly, in that millisecond, the vote will go directly to the election commission, and there will be no intermediaries in between. Another advantage of digital polling is that it is time saving. The election card will go to every house of the citizen, and people will just enter the card and cast their vote. Therefore, digital polling is very helpful because every citizen will participate in the election, and when every people participate in the election, the democracy will prevail, because democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Since voters don't have to go to the election centers, which means that there will be absence of undue influence of crowd or money or mafia. The huge amount of money will be reduced upon each election, because we don't need much workers or volunteers to prepare for an election center. Your chairmanship, I stand here to assume the important agenda, digital polling. Digital voting machine cannot substitute the present electronic voting machine. However, it will double the technical issues, because digital machine functions in cyberspace, and there is a privacy and data security issues in cloud computing system, and the jurisdiction of the real territory is different from the cyberspace, and it gives hope to many hackers from different parts of the world to commit cybercrime by stealing data and committing identity theft, which is very difficult to find out by the police and cyber authorities. That every digital vote is not fully encrypted, which means that the privacy of the people will be infringed. And when the privacy of the people, which is the very fundamental right of every citizen, is infringed, then how can democracy will prevail? Digital polling will create chaos and confusion in the minds, and it will create dilemma in every citizen of the country and of the world, because not all people are literate, even if they are having education, but they are lagging behind computer knowledge and information technology. And for example, how can rural people know about the digital card? Even nowadays, many people don't know how to generate the PIN of the ATM. How can they generate the PIN of the digital card, of the digital machine? And even if people have to vote through their smartphone by downloading the electoral app, we should think about rural people who don't have smartphones. Therefore, since democracy is the government by the people, how can we say that the democracy will prevail when majority of the people will not take part in an election? Your chairmanship, I would like to submit my concluding remarks that free and fair election will not happen when there is a change in the system of voting, that is through digital polling. Digital polling is time-consuming and waste of money. The rise of hackers and threat of identity theft is very harmful than muscle power in the present world, and that digital polling has privacy and data security issues in cloud computing. Your chairmanship, it is humbly requested that this House may be pleased to overturn the agenda and declare that digital polling is It's not the step for the world's largest democracy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Wante. Next speaker, can you please have Hokini? Is that? Sorry? Hakini. All right, I'm so sorry. Spelling mistake on my part. Can you please have Hakini? Mr. Hakini? Yes, please. And once again, I'm so sorry for pronouncing your name wrong. Please.
Good morning to everyone present here. A part of the National Voters Day, I'm going to say about today's topic about digital polling, next step for the world's largest democracy. As we know that we have come further into the step of digital India. So it is there are different kind of digital voting. It can be in the form of EVM, it can be in the form of call to call, and it can be in the form of internet. So from my point of view, digital polling is a very efficient and a very better way for voting, because it reduces costs and it reduces the staff for the polling station, and it also reduces the usage of papers, which is very harmful for the environment. And also, it is a very quick and fastest way to count our vote, and it saves a lot of time. So in the future, digital polling might be in the form of website or mobile application, which is very easy for every one of us to vote from our home, which we can avoid from the crowd and many different kind of unwanted things like fighting and all. So, but still, there are some limitation of that using website and application, and also using digital polling. There are still, it might lead some of us might do hacking, which can give false result, and also it might give false result, and also we cannot give our vote due to some issue like internet problem, or many people in rural areas have not get access to use of technology. So in that case, digital polling is very difficult for many people in country like India, because many are still in the underdeveloping stages of their community. So in my conclusion, according to my point of view, it is better to use a semi-digital form of election polling by using some kind of machines in the polling station, and to avoid all kind of fighting and all. It is better to use a strict monitoring. The police and the election commission should use a very strict method to overcome all our problems. So only this much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Hakini. The last speaker that we will have for today's debate is Ms. Merciful.
Okay. A very good morning, everyone, respected judges, Mr. Speaker, sir, and all my fellow competitors. To start off this topic, the agenda for argument is digital polling, the next step to the world's largest democracy. First of all, digital polling. From the word digital polling, it's virtual. Polling is like taking into an opinion, which here it means the vote. So first of all, I'll be speaking for the motion. And the first point I want to say that in digital polling, the first thing that we need is anonymity and trust. Anonymity means that a voter, when he casts the vote, no one should know whom he cast the vote. Like, even after the vote is being counted, no one should know. Secondly is trust. That is, we need to have a complete trust in the system. Now, my next point is, it is obviously digital polling, it's very fast, it's accurate, and it's authentic. Secondly, we know that in digital polling we use machines, that is the EVMs and the VVPATs. And because of this, an EVM, let's say it's the voting that it takes, the maximum it's 240 votes. Therefore, it cannot exceed its limit. That means there is no invalid vote. Am I right, Mr. Speaker, sir? My next point is environmental friendly. Using ballot paper, we have consumed more money. Distribution, transportation, voting. It causes a lot of time, and the people who are working in it, it will be a hassle for them. Thirdly, I would like to say that using the machine, we can generate the result faster. Like counting ballot paper, it may take like 1 week. Like we get holiday for elections, it's like that. But using digital polling, it's more easy, it's faster. And my last point is that it create an opportunity, a chance for people, especially those who are in electoral violence or malpractices. Moving on, I'd like to speak for against. The first point for against is the system that is like the EVM machine. First point is the software. We cannot completely trust the software. Am I right, Mr. Speaker, sir? It's because after the voting is being done, the vote needs to be transmitted. That is, the vote needs to go through the internet, and if there is no system which is guarding it, it will be easily accessible to anyone. It can be easily hacked. Like everyone's saying, it's like in today's technology world. Even a kid can learn coding from home. Those who are in computer who specialize in those, it's easy for them to learn coding. So it creates an opportunity. Like if someone bribe them or anything, they will take that step, because in today's world, money talks. Am I right, Mr. Speaker, sir? And thirdly is after when the vote is being translated, like tallying of the vote, there will be many problems regarding that. Like for example, I'll give example. Like my phone, I'm holding my phone. My phone, I know it's up to date, but if I take into opinion, everyone's phone will be not up to date. Some may be having malfunction, some may be having operating system problem, or many other things. So these are my points for against. Now to conclude, I'd like to say that both they have good advantages and disadvantages. For ballot paper, like old generation, example my grandma, she will agree, but digital polling for her will be like a new thing. Like it'll be like learning something new in her old age. It will be tiring as well. But for us students right now, everyone is into technology, into digital online, like shopping, stuff like that. It's more convenient. But I think I'll stand again for digital polling, because kids nowadays, like a 4-year-old kid, his hand is on his phone and he knows how to browse the net. He knows everything, because like this argument is for future generation. Yes, we know that India is a developing country, but I hope that one day when it is like according to our leaders, if they take the chance or the stance to make it a better world, a more democratic world where everyone can participate, it will be a good one. Only these few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, with this we have come to the end of this debate. And as the speaker for today's session, I am Ritvik Bhoya. I did not introduce myself in the beginning, nor did any of the judges do so, because it would not be appropriate for us to speak or introduce ourselves before the rest of the most important people in today's debate speak up. And we will now move ahead with the last few proceedings, and as you have been informed about this, your marks, the final positions, who has won, who has not been able to win a position, everything will be let known to you on the 25th at the Raj Bhavan, which is the Governor's House, right? 25th is the celebration of the National Voters' Day. And judges, any remarks you would like to make? All right. We will now have a few remarks from the judges themselves. And before we move on to the judges, a few things that I would like to point out myself is, look, we do not care about how good you can speak the English language. It's not our mother tongue, right? It is not our mother tongue, and we do not care about how proficient you are in the language. What we are more interested in is how well you can express yourselves. All right? You may have an accent, I have an accent, he may have an accent, you may have an accent, does not matter. All right? So do not feel discouraged if you cannot speak the English language clearly. It does not matter. And the other thing I would like to point out is, please, when you're speaking up here, right, on stage, on a podium like this, I have been debating since I was in class 7. I have graduated, I'm studying law now. All right? So throughout all of these years, there's one thing I've realized. If you want to speak about something on a stage like this, on a podium, it may be the biggest lie that you can talk about, right? You may want to say that the earth is actually not the earth, but is the moon itself. You may want to say something so ridiculous. But the way to convince people about that is to actually believe in that lie yourself for those 2 minutes. All right? There's a saying in Hindi, no? Gadhe ko bhi baap banana padta hai. To translate it to English, when the need arises, you have to make a donkey your father also. That's the most literal translation I can give you. And as such, I would like to tell you one thing, is that convince yourselves, right? Convince yourselves that this is the right thing or this is the wrong thing. You may believe on a personal level something extremely different, but for those 2 minutes, just believe in that, right? Over to the judges. Sir. Yeah, please.
First of all, I'm really happy that we're on a stage and we're speaking, because this is quite weird. For a year, we've not come up to the stage. We've not met people, we've not congregated. So first of all, congratulations to everyone for at least sticking together and having an offline debate or a program. So that's the heartiest congratulations to the team of organizers. Now, first of all, I came to this debate, and obviously there are people who are not so experienced in the field of public speaking, and we gain experience when we come to the field and then we learn about it. So if you have come to this place for the first time, if you've been here, if you're speaking on a platform for the first time, then congratulations to anyone who's done it. I'm not going to point out, I'm not going to ask you. Second, if it's your third time, fourth time, fifth time, congratulations to you also, because you've come here and you've learned something new. So have I, so have everyone. So that's the second point. Now, coming to something which is very important. Now, you've come here, you've spoken. What are things you can take away? First of all, as a part of the jury, a part of the judges group, I noticed this, that most of you see when you're coming to a debate, you should realize that it's a solemn affair. You're not coming here to fight. You're coming here to discuss points in a manner that puts conviction in your speech. So from the time you come up from your seat till you stand here, there has to be a sense of decorum and formality, right? So I saw that in most of the students, that you were very slack when you came up on the stage. And as a judge and as a student, I looked up to people who walked in a certain manner to the stage. That brings a sense of conviction, and that helps you in life later on. That is called discipline. Second, coming to constructives. Now, since it was a turncoat debate and you had to contradict yourselves in the same speeches, and not so much for the people who were against you, you needed to realize that it's more about you talking to yourself and not the others, right? So when you come up to the podium and you talk about points, there has to be constructives to your points. Since it's a 2-minute speech from two sides, at least 3 points from one side and 3 points from the other. Many participants started moving on and on, describing one point and then forgot to rebut the second part of their speech. So when you're trying to explain a certain point, you have to keep in mind in a turncoat debate that you're contradicting yourself and you're not trying to explain a certain point. You get it? It's a point by point analysis of your constructives. So think about your points in a certain manner. So suppose I say that digital polling is beneficial because I feel that people would save much more time. The government can use it in a manner which helps people to vote faster. Now you have this certain point in a turncoat debate. You contradict the same point in a manner from the other side, so that there is a mismatch of your points. One side speaks and the other side contradicts. That is a debate. It is not a speech. There is a difference. If this was a declamation competition, it would be something very different. This would be about your speeches. This would be about your articulation. In a debate, we look at the points more than how you speak. Of course, speaking matters, but points matters the most. Now, third point, harms and benefits. In a turncoat debate, you have to understand the ratio and proportion of describing your points. Why do we have a certain topic, and why do we want to explain it in two sides? Because we want to understand the ratio and proportion of harms and benefits of both sides, right? We're not trying to say that one side is better and one side is not. You have to give an analysis as to why this part is wrong and why is that part wrong, right? So that is constructive analysis of your own debate. Do not get swayed into emotions when you're in a debate. Always stick to constructive analysis of your points. So that's the biggest thing that I saw today, and I hope that you can take this away with you. So lastly, again, I had said that speak with conviction, because if you do not put forward that point to the judges, or sorry, not the judges are not part of the debate. They're here judging you from a distance and you do not relate to them. That does not come into the formal proceedings of a debate. You speak to the speaker and you do not tell the speaker that, do you understand my point or not? The speaker is there to listen to your point. You can take his name, but you cannot bring him into the conversation. Never. That does not happen. Yeah, that does not happen. So once you've explained that point to him, you've explained the point to the people, you should feel that the people have understood your point. You're not here to just stand and say, no, that would be what politicians do, that to gain votes in podiums. No, you're not here. You're here to analyze, right? To think about the topic. So when you come up on the stage, whatever your articulation may be, whatever your accent may be, feel the point. You've made that point from your own brain. You should have an emotion towards that point, but not when you take it out. When you take it out, there should be conviction. So these are small things that you should keep in mind when you're speaking, when you're trying to put forward things in a public platform. That's why you have great speakers, right? So those great speakers do not have emotion, they have conviction. There's a huge difference. Correct? Now, last point, when I come to the analysis of this topic here, many participants got to the point of it. Many participants spoke about the procedural problems of digital voting. Many spoke about platforms like the apps. Many people spoke about platforms away from the digital media. As a judge, I do not have the right to keep an opinion on the debate, so I would not do that. But I just want to tell you guys to keep in mind things like the country like India, right? So when people speak about environment, when people speak about vote from home, a lot of things need to be kept in mind. Because why? India is a country that is very less reliant on its urban public. It's a country that is hugely reliant on the rural areas. Now, how would you analyze your points on rural areas, because they are the largest belt of our country? How would you analyze your point? There are people, I'll tell you, there are people in Jharkhand who do not know what an antenna is, who do not know what a TV is, who do not know what a phone is, who do not know what is geo, nothing. They have no idea. They are there to just survive. How would the government pierce into areas, into jungles, into places where they are citizens, they might be having voter IDs, but they do not care about their votes? The government just goes there to pick on those people and get a voters list and bring it out in front of the government, and that's it. The very problem that we need to understand is education of voters. Only then can we bring about digital polling. This is a concept that is far away. Apps, I do not bring apps into the conversation. EVMs, of course. There's a very thin line of difference between EVMs and ballot papers, because ballot papers depends on the people who are counting the votes. EVMs, you click on it, that's it. But when you talk about apps, there's a disparity in our country that we cannot even talk about. We live in a place like Shillong, Guwahati, we stay in Delhi. We do not understand the analysis and the perspectives of the whole country. So when you are debating, I hope next time, it was congratulations to all of you for bringing up good points. It was really nice to understand some new things. Even I was searching on Google to understand some of new terms that I could not understand. So congratulations to all of you, and I hope that next time you take out analysis, conviction, and understanding of your debate rather than just speaking on a topic. To participate. Do not participate to just participate. Participate to learn. Yeah. So that's all. Thank you.
The last one or two things that I would like to say to you before we conclude and finish everything off right now is the fact that never, ever, ever make the mistake of keeping your arguments dry. We've all spoken about EVMs, the new pads that are out for voting, right? Ballot papers, apps, web pages, but we got stuck there. We tried to explain the entire problem, but we did not do it with proper examples. It sounded a little dry, I'll be very honest with you. Alright? Your points were on spot. Alright? Whatever things you wanted to talk about, on point. But make it more colorful. What happened to Hillary Clinton? Who was she? Secretary of State, United States of America. What happened to her? Her email got hacked. That was an extremely embarrassing thing to happen in the United States. What happened to this lady, Nidhi Rajdhan, yes. A top journalist in the country, NDTV, top journalist, left her job in the NDTV to go and teach in Harvard. She was supposed to teach in Harvard in their School of Mass Communication. Harvard does not have a School of Mass Communication. It does not. Online phishing. Scam. She got stuck there. Talk about things like that. Bring more color into the argument. Make it more fun. Everything is factual. Very good. But make facts sound like fun. Then it's easier for us to understand. Easier for, what we have to do here is act like we don't know anything in the world. Your job is to teach us. Your job is to convince us. We are no one. So please keep that in mind, and thank you very much for being part of this debate here today and making it a success. I would like to thank you all and congratulate you all on behalf of the organizers and everyone else working with us on the media work. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.